What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I want to give you guys a quick market update as we are likely going to get a lot of volatility today as we are having a Fed meeting at about 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that usually gives us some crazy moves to the upside, and then the downside. There's usually a bunch of scam wicks involved, and it will likely be dangerous out there. So first and foremost, if you're out there trading, make sure you use your stop losses and good risk management, and do not rush into any positions, because I see it happen all too often. You get those big moves to the upside. Everyone thinks, oh no, this is the breakout. We're getting that big move. Everyone FOMOs into a long position, and then it just turns right back around and comes down. Or you get the classic dump and then pump. So just be careful out there, guys. Don't rush into any positions, and make sure you're using good risk management if you want to trade today. Now, in today's video, I want to show you guys some of those things on the higher time frames that are starting to pop up that could indicate that we do have some more upside in store for this pump, and why I am leaning more bullish in the long term. But I also want to cover some of those things on the medium to lower time frames that could be calling for a pullback. And then I want to give you guys those key levels to the upside if we do get that big move up, where I'm expecting some rejections, and what levels we need to break to get even higher prices for Bitcoin. And I also want to show you some things to the downside, because there are some things below us that might make it likely for us to come down and retest some levels before getting that move up. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of these urgent market updates or awesome tutorials that we upload to the channel. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Take a look at those bullish signs, take a look at some of those signals calling for a pullback, and then we'll take a look at those key levels so you guys are prepared whether we get that pump or that dump later on today at 2 p.m. Let's get into it. So, guys, here we are on the Bitcoin weekly chart, and we have obviously gotten some pretty exciting price action recently. Now, I do think that this pump could potentially continue. I would be leaning a little bit more bullish than bearish in the long term, and one of those things that has got me feeling very, very good is that weekly money flow creeping up towards that zero line. This is a very, very bullish sign, as every single time this has happened in the past, it has marked at least that the bottom has already been put in. And this is one of those main things that is making me think that the bottom was likely in here at $15,500. No guarantees of that, but again, that weekly money flow coming up has got me feeling more bullish for this pump to continue, at least in the long term. And in a minute, guys, we will get into those signals that may be calling for a little pullback, but they are not any like alarming signals that we're going to come down to much lower prices, but more of a signal that we may get a small pullback before a move back up, similar to what we got here back in the beginning of March, right? We came that big move up, and then we got a little bit of a pullback, and then we continued up higher. That is more what I'm expecting for these bearish signals, rather than like a big dump to the downside. So, number one, money flow coming up on the weekly with that confirmed green dot, VWAP looking healthy. This is one of the things that is making me feel a little bit more bullish in the long term. And then if you take a look, our 6-day money flow does not look the best, but it might take some time for that to kind of curve back off to the upside and start to repair itself. But other than that, the 6-day money flow is really the only thing on these higher time frames that doesn't look great, because if we come down to the 5-day, you can see that we are finally getting that money flow crossover into the green that we've been waiting for so long. We finally got it about a day ago. So this is, again, another point for the bulls, at least in the long term. And the reason I say in the long term is because you can see here, although the money flow crossover is a signal that the long-term trend may continue to the upside, you can see that the VWAP is starting to cool off, and the VWAP does indicate more, the ebbs and flows of the markets. And when this VWAP does come all the way back down and cross below that zero line, that could be the indication that we are going to get that pullback coming up somewhat soon. As you can see, the last time we got that VWAP crossover to the downside right here, that is what caused this little pullback down. But because money flow was coming up, we knew it was going to be likely to get that second leg to the upside. So money flow crossover into the green on the 5-day, definitely a good look. Looking at the 4-day now, your money flow is kind of flat. You are making a little bit of a lower high here, and your VWAP is coming down. But again, money flow in the green, still a pretty good look. Now, one other thing I would be careful about, guys, is you could see here, we are getting higher highs on our price with lower highs on our momentum waves, giving us that bearish divergence. Now, this is not even printing yet. We still have about 3 days to print another 4-day candle. However, if this does wind up printing, and we maintain this lower high on our momentum waves, this would signal somewhat of a bigger pullback, in my opinion. But there is plenty of time for this bearish divergence to get invalidated. Again, we still have 3 days and 10 hours to print another candle here. So not worried just yet, but something I am keeping my eye on. Other than that, money flow is in the green, so it does not look that bad. Your 3-day, similar story being told on this time frame, but your money flow is coming up and consistently making higher highs, which would be more bullish. Just want to remember that VWAP is calming down, coming back towards that zero line, and we will print another candle here in about 9.5 hours. So we may get a, I don't think we'll get that red dot just at that next candle, but it is, again, just something I'm watching. But again, money flow looks good, and money flow indicates the longer term trend, right? That's what we're looking for when we look at the higher time frames. We don't care about the noise, the little, mini dumps that we get. When we're looking at the higher time frames, we're looking for the macro trend, right? So I don't even care if we cool off a little bit here from that VWAP. As long as money flow keeps coming up, I am expecting that trend to continue to the upside. 2-day is getting very close to printing that red dot as well. We are also getting somewhat of that bearish divergence. However, your money flow does look healthy. So a lot of these higher daily time frames look very similar. But again, with the money flow coming up, especially on that weekly and the 5-day, does have me thinking that this pump could continue in the long term. Now, as we get down to the daily and some of these lower or higher hourly time frames, this is where things look like we may get a short-term pullback, right? So taking a look at the daily, you can see we are about to print a red dot here. Now, unless we get some kind of a massive pump off of this Fed news this afternoon, I would expect this red dot to print at the end of the day. If we get some kind of crazy bullish action this afternoon, we may get a little support on that zero line, and that may kind of extend this VWAP crossing over the zero line, and we may have to wait for that red dot. But as it looks right now, VWAP is coming straight to that zero line, and that could indicate, again, a shorter term pullback. Now, zooming in, this money flow was looking pretty good, coming up towards that zero line, but we also did get rejected at that zero line with the money flow. So as that VWAP crosses over, this is something I am looking at potentially pointing towards a pullback, right? Taking a look at your 16-hour red dot confirmed, money flow kind of flat, your 12-hour telling a very, very similar story. Really, that daily red dot is one of the major things that I am looking at to potentially give us a little bit of a pullback here. Now, moving down to some of these lower time frames, guys, money flow is coming up on your 8-hour. That does look pretty good. Your money flow on your 4-hour still does look pretty healthy, and I will say, with these VWAP flips, not only on the 4-hour, but we got it on the 3-hour, the 2-hour, and I believe we did get it on, we didn't get it on the 1 hour, but we did get it on the 4 and the 3 hour pretty aggressively here, that VWAP flip with money flow coming up. This is actually a pretty good sign, but again, be very careful because there's going to be some wonky price action today because of this news. There's going to be weird price action leading up to this meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting, so just be ready for that. Sometimes the TA gets thrown out the window when we have big news like this coming out, so just be careful. But these medium hourly time frames with these VWAP flips does show strength for the bulls. I will say that. So really, guys, higher time frames, the higher daily time frames are looking bullish, and these medium hourly time frames actually don't look bad at all. The only thing I would caution you guys about is we are continually putting higher highs in on our price action as our momentum waves are marching to the downside. This does show that momentum is coming to the downside as price action is pushing higher. That gives us a discrepancy between that oscillator and our price action, usually warranting a correction to the downside. So just be aware of that as our momentum comes out and our price action comes up. That should be like a head-scratching moment. Why is that happening? That doesn't make sense. And that is typically why those bearish divergences give us a correction. But just keep that in mind. But it does look with this money flow, this could be just kind of pushing right through those bear divs. But it is just something to keep in mind, especially because we have that red dot about to print on the daily. So higher daily time frames, bullish. Daily calling for somewhat of a pullback, and those medium hourly time frames do have bearish divergences, but it looks like the bulls are trying to push right through them. So again, very sketchy price action out there, and it's probably only going to get worse later on today. So guys, let's go ahead and take a look at those key levels that I will be watching. Now again, guys, if you are not in a position, I don't recommend trading this insane volatility, and if you do, just understand that it's going to be very unpredictable. So just be careful. I am still in a long and a short position as of right now. If you watch the stream, guys, you will know that I am in a long and a short position. You can see the long is well in profit with some profits locked in. This short position, on my live stream, I was saying this last night, this was supposed to be a $780 position. I don't know what happened. Somehow it got changed to a $78 position, so kind of got rugged on that one. So I'm just going to let this ride, because any losses that I make, even if I got liquidated on this $78, my long covers that plus, 10x. So again, I am not entering any new positions as of right now, but I am going to hold both of these positions. If we get that move up, I will lock more profits in on my long. And then if we wind up getting a big move to the downside, I will have locked in those profits. And then this short will likely turn green. And if we get high enough and we hit some key levels of resistance that we're about to go over, I may add to this short position to make it a full position, so I can cash in on the way down as well. Also, guys, if you want to trade on Femex to long and short your favorite altcoins or Bitcoin, you guys can use the link in the description down below. They have a deal going on where you can save 10% on all fees, as well as the possibility to qualify for a deposit bonus where they will give you some extra bonus funds to trade with, which is super cool, and you help support the channel, which is a win-win for everybody. Now, guys, I do want to take a look at some of those key levels that I am looking at to the upside, as well as some important levels to the downside that we need to be aware of. Now, we are testing the top of this purple box right now, which is a very interesting level of resistance at about $28,575. Now, if we do get above this, guys, and we wind up getting a big pump to the upside or a decent move to the upside, the next major level of resistance I will be looking at is going to be at the $28,560 level, give or take a few bucks. The reason I will be looking at this is because not only is this right near a macro golden pocket, but this is also the value area low of our previous little range that we traded in back here in May of 2022. This is going to be a very key level because if we can get above this level and flip it to support, it does open the door to higher prices, that next major target being that $30,000 level, which is the previous point of control of that previous range as well. So if we get a big pump up above this purple box and we're able to hop on top of this value area low, hold it as support, that will open the door to some higher prices for Bitcoin up to that $30,000 level potentially. And to the downside, guys, we do also have some key levels to be looking at. And one of those major levels that I will be watching, guys, is going to be this blue box down here where we have a plethora of important levels. Not only do we have a local golden pocket right here coming in at about $27,200, we also have an untapped daily level of support right here at about I would call it $27,000 even. This level is technically coming in at $26,983. That level also does come in perfect confluence with that CME gap coming in at about $27,000. So if we do get a move to the downside, guys, that would be a pretty big level of interest because we may go fill that CME gap before getting a big bounce and a big move to the upside. So this blue box between about $27,200 and about $26,819 is going to be a big level to watch. So even though these Fed meetings bring a crazy amount of volatility and unpredictability to the markets, even with some of the best TA, these things can be super unpredictable. That's why we have to be prepared for that big move up and that big move down, and then have a plan if we get that big move up and a plan if we get the big move down, so we can make money no matter which way price decides to go. So with all that being said, guys, I think that's all I got for this market update. Again, be careful out there. Make sure you're using good risk management. Don't rush into any positions. Again, I am going to be holding my long and my short, but I will be monitoring them very closely. But I will not be looking to enter any new positions unless we come up or down to a key level that I am watching where I already have a trading plan in place. So with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Be careful out there. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide.